What's up? I want to talk to you guys today, ladies, folks, peeps, about. I got the crazy background going on. How we abuse God's grace. Probably hear that water filter going off too. How we abuse God's grace. It's something that I see recently. Just somebody I was talking to, right? Another um, somebody that's reaching towards God, right? I don't know if I'd say a follower of Christ, but somebody seeking, right? Somebody um, that has hit rock bottom and is seeking God, and God's trying to lead him back. The abuse of grace, right? And I even see this within myself, where it's like, um, you know, God is merciful, so God is gonna like always be there for us, even when we're sinners, right? God is there for the sinners. He's not just there for his children, even more so for his children, right? But he does help everybody. He's God. He like created us, right? Created us, and it's his design to help us, right? To guide us, to give us wisdom, to point us in the right direction, so that we don't get hurt, right? Because he loves everybody. He just doesn't love the believer or the follower of Christ. Um, though though he's chosen us, right? He's chosen us. I believe that he loves everybody, and that's something that I see manifest through his children too, right? His true children, as they seek to go out and to save the lost. That is a quality of God, right? Because that's God coming through, saying, as children, we feel the severity of being lost and dying lost, right? Dying when your soul is still in question. Um, and also, we know that the quicker we turn back to God, the easier life gets, right? He has the power to heal any wounds, any sickness, emotional, physical, mental, restore us in crazy ways, right? Me myself speaking is like going through um, just not having good physical health, and then also my mental health wasn't doing good. But in those times, because I was saved by Jesus, that I was still protected by God. Like I still, like, even if I was decimated in that period of my life, I still had great assurance where my soul's going. I was still joyful. I was still joyful, even more so than some of the states in my life where I've been, um, better health physically and mentally, because God truly cares for the oppressed, right, the sick, and especially if you're His child, right, He's gonna make sure you're okay, spiritually, because like this is all spiritual terms, right? It's all about evidently how you're feeling, because you can, have much, right? Have great health, have great everything, and still feel empty inside, right? Because the lack of the presence of God is not in your life. You don't have that relationship. That's the only thing that's gonna fulfill us, guys. It's the only thing. It's the only thing. Completely. There'll be other temporary things that will fulfill us for the moments, right? There's temporary pleasure. Like we drink a cup of coffee, we feel great for about an hour, then we feel like crap. That's being sown to the flesh. Right? We feel really good when we're tempted and we're in it, but the second that reality strikes and that high comes down, right? Because it's only physiological. It's not like a spiritual enlightenment, where you're connected to God. It's a temporary fix, just like alcohol, just like porn, just like masturbation, just like having flings with people. All these things are great, and chase them, but it's to a bitter end. And anybody, right? You see people like Russell Brand comes to my mind. I'm not trying to call him out. I like that dude. I have nothing wrong, no problems with him. But he ran around and he was like super charismatic and he'd pick up all these girls and had all these movies about get him to the Greek or whatever, stuff like that where he's like this bachelor. Um, and he eventually came to the point where he is now like talking about spiritual subjects. So everybody gets to this point where they see God, like, and if you don't, um, man, I would wonder. I would really wonder, because maybe you've already understood, right, the esoteric knowledge, if we want to call it, like, yeah, esoteric knowledge, right, of God. Because there's several different. The reason why I pause is because there's several different types of esoteric knowledge, right, and ideally, not ideally, but um, well, I'm thinking the word right now. Mistakenly lead us in the wrong direction, right? They can give us spurts of wisdom and clarity and stuff like that, but it's not truly saving our soul. Jesus Christ is the only one that can do that. I've read Buddhism. I've listened to the Taoist audiobook like 20 times. I love the Tao, and I see um, things that line up, right, between walking in the presence of God, right, and what Lao Tzu was talking about. No doubt that he was enlightened, but Jesus Christ, like, I don't know. There's just something about Jesus Christ, and He brings us to the God. He brings us to God, right? He says there's no way to the Father but through me, the mediator. Jesus Christ is the mediator to God. He brings us there, and then we form that relationship with Him. And He's Spirit. He's a Spirit. It's that I don't know if I just said this in other videos, but that song "Spirit in the Sky," which there's a part in that where she says, "I'm a sinner and I never sin," and that's completely false, right? That's maybe why it became popularized in the world, right? Is because it's a lie. It's to say you're a sinner and you never sin is the quickest way to hell. It's just like the speed. It's just like once you say there's no devil, right? There's no devil. I can do whatever I want. That's like he's got you. He's got you. Because what I notice is when I'm on the path to going out to spread the words of Christ, to glorify God's name, the devil's on me. Man, he's on me. He's piping on me, like, trying to cut me down, stuff like that. But it's just like, get out of here, Get out of here. You got to know who you serve, right? And that's why Jesus said you cannot serve two masters. You hate one and despise the other. Or you love one and despise the other. And I think thinking about that now, that's just like it really is the next level of serving God. It really is, because I can even think about my own walk where it's like I love God and I despise the devil, but that shouldn't even be a thing. It should just be I love God. That's it. The devil's not even a question anymore because my relationship with God is so firm that the devil can't even touch me. Because the devil's always going to be there, right? He's always going to tempt us. But like I feel like he's talking about that conviction where it's like you just know who you're serving. You just know who you're serving and get the water going for the RO filter. Trying to watch it. Yeah, you should just know who you're serving, right? It's just like you wake up, and even if the devil's piping at you, you serve God, right? It's not like just go out there as a good warrior, as a good soldier. And yeah, so the abuse of grace that was kind of the subject here, and I just myself included to tell people, don't abuse God's grace, right? God is gracious. That's one of His main traits. It's an astounding trait, right? He sent His Son to die for us. That's It's very graceful, and not to abuse it, right? Right, to accept it. It's kind of like thinking about our parents when we were younger, on how we would. I think it's almost done. On how we would, take for granted the luxuries of childhood, right? I'm not, maybe not everybody, but I think it's a frequent adolescent thing where you abuse the fact that um, you got a warm place to sleep, you got all these nice amenities, you got things for free, and you can kind of just wander around and do whatever. Like that's a luxury. That's kind of a grace, right? That you have for that period of time, and um, we abuse it partly because so there's no weight behind. Okay, like um, and no reality. Like there's just lack of maturity, lack of understanding. How difficult it can get. But that abuse of grace, right? Your parents' grace. Not saying all parents are perfect, but in decent homes, right? Most parents love their children, right? There's a grace there. Um, yeah, I think I'm gonna go shut that off. But yeah, that's kind of something I want to bring up. Just thank God, right? Thank God every day for the situation that you have, no matter how bad you think it is, right? You can find some good things about it. That you have a warm house, a roof over your head, money coming in, even if it's low, right? And maybe you got some friends and family that care about you. Like there's things to be grateful about, and the more you're grateful, and the more you praise God, the more He's gonna be willing to show to you, and the more you're gonna be receptive to allowing more blessings, right? But that's the general idea. Thanks, guys. I love you, and stay tuned.